Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? My name is Peter Rosenberg. Quite honored today to have arguably the greatest professional MMA fighter of all time, Anderson Silva.
Hi, my
Bem-vindo.
friend.
Bem-vindo a Hot 97.
Thank you.
By the way, I speak a little bit of Portuguese, but we have a translator as well. So if you hear a random voice speaking Portuguese, that's our translator helping out. But I guess first and foremost, before we go back and talk about your career and all the great accomplishments, of course, the thing that was on people's minds the most is what happened that night when you took the loss to Chris Weidman. And he's from Long Island, by the way, so he has some fans up here. And he came by and did the show a little while ago as well. He seemed to be quite a fan of yours. And he almost seemed surprised at what happened. So when people said to you, the common thought was, why is Anderson Silva messing around? Brincando. He was playing around in the ring. Like, what was your explanation to people of what happened that night?
So this is my style for fight. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lost. But this is my style for the fight. Maybe sometimes I watch on the fight the Muhammad Ali and my inspiration and the Bruce Lee, and I put in my game plan for fight. But
Is the goal when you're doing that, and for people who don't know, people see it as Anderson playing around, but you sort of taunt and it seems as if you're trying to draw an attack so you can counter. Is that what the goal of it is? Is it simply style, or are you trying to draw them in so you can then knock them out?
this is the plan, the game plan. Sometimes working, but Chris Weidman is the great, is the Chris wasn't the good punch for win the fight. For me, it's normal. I back to December.
So late December in Vegas, you guys will do it again.
Yeah.
Do you plan on coming at it with the exact same style, or people are now expecting you to be much more aggressive next time?
No, it's the same style. This is my style. I take my focus for next fight, but I don't change my style because this is my style.
It's worked well. Worked well. I always say to people I'm not a huge MMA fan. I was originally a boxing fan.
Me too.
Yeah, I know, and I know you admire boxers quite a bit. So I loved boxing. I love the pizzazz and spectacle of professional wrestling. UFC to me it lacked a little bit of pizzazz. It was just pure fighting, and the person who got me into it was you, because you have that pizzazz and you have that como se diz, pizzazz, flair.
Yeah,
You brought that energy.
Yeah, because you remember the Muhammad Ali fight and the Roy Jones Jr. and the Bruce Lee. This is my inspiration for my fighters in UFC.
And I always said that, to me, my favorite thing about Brazilian athletes, when I first fell in love with Brazilian athletes, it was 1994 World Cup. Do you remember 94 World Cup?
Yes.
Romário, Bebeto.
Yeah. It's the dream team.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
With Ronaldo on the bench, Ronaldinho was on the bench. He was just a kid. And from that point on, I watched the way Brazilian athletes operate, and I feel that you remind me of a Brazilian football player in MMA. And it's funny.
Thank you.
And I feel the same way about, even though he's not on the same level in his sport, but I felt the same way about, like, when I watch Leandro Barbosa in the NBA. He plays like a football player. It's smooth. Everything is what is it? Is there a certain thing in the way that Brazilian athletes train? What is it about that Brazilian style?
This is Brazilian style. This is the I don't know. Maybe the my opinion is the Brazilian guys, the sport in the world, uh, is different because in Brazil you put in your heart and you're working in your job in the sport.
How how famous are you in Brazil? Are you able to do anything regular in Brazil, or is it out of control?
Oh, I don't know, it's too much. But Pelé is have more, more fans in Brazil.
Ainda now,
Yes, yes.
what about compared to the football team now, like your Kaká and the famous current football players? Are you in a similar position to them, or do you still are they still on a different level altogether?
I don't know. Maybe the same position.
So people are really
Yeah.
into MMA. What about do you? I know that you were trained originally under some descendants from the Gracie style. That was one part that you when you learned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But are the Gracies still held with great reverence and respect in Brazil?
Yeah, the Grace family is the traditional family, the martial arts, and the people training the older fights training jiu-jitsu in Brazil, training because Gracie family give the chance for training jiu-jitsu, and in UFC is the big one now because Rodion Grace start the project the UFC in the world.
Did you watch UFC at the beginning? UFC 1, UFC 2, and when it was Hoist Gracie was dominant?
Yeah. I remember I watching the UFC, the first one, and I think together my friends and my brother house, and see, oh my gosh, look, this is Hoist Grace in the fight. This is amazing. What is this? Is the jiu-jitsu? This is Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'm very happy because I'm I'm seeing the part of the story now. Is the family, the Grace family, giving the chance for part of the story. I'm very happy.
No, well, you're a major part of that story, and now you're a part of the story. Historically of MMA, this has been really the first. The last 20 years has been the first part of this sport as it's been taken seriously, and many people here have considered you to be the greatest UFC competitor, at least of all time. Where do you rank yourself in the history of UFC?
Um, I'm very happy. I'm working hard because me and the older fighters in UFC have a lot of working because this sport now is the great. Uh, Sometimes I talk to Dana White and Lorenzo Fertitta for start in the old more cities for people watching the UFC, and Dana have the big plans for UFC in the world. I'm very happy.
Which fight was it? Maybe 3 fights ago. Was it Sonnen? Was it Sonnen? Where after the fight? Okay, here's what I thought. Okay, so after the fight, Anderson speaking Portuguese, obviously, and he basically says, "I want to have a barbecue, and you should come over to my house." And the commentators who do a great job for UFC, but they were like, "Oh, look how friendly he's being," and I knew you were having fun, and I knew you were poking fun a little bit, and as we say here, talking shit. But they all thought, I just thought it was the funniest thing because I'm like, he's not really inviting him over to his house for a barbecue. Was there legitimate bad blood between you and Chael Sonnen, or you didn't care?
So is the Chael is the great athletic, but Chael talk too much in Brazil. No respect the people in Brazil. This is bad because this is the great sport. And Chael is the good man, is the good fighter, but it's the little crazy. Little crazy, but it's good guy.
What's your favorite city? Your favorite city in Brazil? If you were going to tell people they had to go visit one city in Brazil.
My favorite city, Curitiba.
Curitiba?
Yeah, my family live in Curitiba.
Are they having? Are they hosting World Cup in Curitiba?
No, maybe.
No, or yeah, you don't.
Maybe. It's the Curitiba, São Paulo, Rio, and the older cities.
Yeah. I'm going. I think to Fortaleza.
Yeah.
Fortaleza is having it as well. They have a new stadium in Fortaleza.
Yeah.
That's where I went. When I went to Brazil, I was only in Fortaleza. And I arrived in Brazil the day of the final in 1998 when they lost and Ronaldinho had that, he was sick. It was like that weird, and they lost. And if you've ever been to Brazil around World Cup, there are just parties planned. Like the parties were planned, everything was set, and then of course they lost. And it was super depressing because they still had the parties. We still went to the parties. We went, but there was no celebration. Do you think Brazil can legitimately have a chance at winning next year? After they just had the big win this summer, as you know very well, it's hard to repeat victories like that. And they're a young team. They had a big win this summer. Do you think Brazil at home for the first time in forever, whatever, it's been 50 years or whatever, has a chance to win next summer?
Yeah, Brazil have the big chance for the win the World Cup, but it's different. It's different. My sport is you need to take your focus the team. You have the different opinion. This is very important because Brazil in Brazil you have a lot of play soccer is good, and this time the Brazilian team is good team, but the guys I need you staying together, working together, because is the great opportunity for Brazil, because it's the first time is the Brazilian Cup in Brazil. No?
Yeah, it's going to be super exciting. I went on Twitter and I asked people for questions. I asked who had questions for the great Anderson Silva. So let's go to my Twitter, my Rosenberg radio account. Would you ever fight? This is from Young Grace God. Would you ever fight John Bones Jones?
So
that's the fight. That's the fight that everyone wanted.
The fans, the UFC fans, is I like the idea, the fight me and John Jones, but I take my focus now for my next fight, and maybe I'm win. I start the training for the next fight. Maybe John Jones, I don't know, or George St. Pierre, I don't know.
So if you beat Weidman, you would consider trying to make a push for John Jones.
I don't know. I need you to talk to Dana.
I need to talk to Dana. And I need to have
this is a good question for
Dana. That's a good question. Trust me, it is. Earl the Pearl wants to know if you can pay him back the $410 that he lost when he bet on you against Chris Weidman. You owe him $410, he says, for losing that fight. A lot of people lost money that night.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
I know. Were you? You seemed after the fight. You seemed. I thought it was very interesting. I was sitting there like, and I think a lot of people were like that. But you, as a fighter, you didn't seem overwhelmed. You seemed like you've lost before, and you could deal with it. Was it not as upsetting to you as it was to your fans?
I don't know. I see the fight for the finish. I watching the video. I talked to my friends and my team, and I respect my fans. I respect the UFC, but sometimes you go for the fight. It's no good day.
Did you feel bad that day, or did you think you were going to win? You felt good going into it.
Yeah, I'm very good, but uh, it's the moment magic.
I
It's
know.
the Weidman. Keep it up. The moment magic. You finish the fight. That's it.
Was it a really hard punch, or was it because you were off balance that it knocked you out?
Yeah, it's the no hard punch, but I lost my balance. You need to stay in the fight, and one more step, no have punch. But and I don't know. Is the Chris Weidman is the great, and uh, that's it.
Someone asked, do you think that UFC has too many events?
No, this is the very important because the people watching more with see the people see more the the fighters, and the super fighters is coming, and the title defense is coming. This is very important, and my opinion is UFC is the new sport. Is the people watching more, the people like more.
Um, what would you be interested in doing after this? I mean, what are you 30, 38, 37?
38.
38. Well, what's next? I mean, no matter what, you don't have more than a couple years
I'm
left.
working hard for the actor, for the start the new career and act the actor.
You want to act in Brazil?
Yeah, yeah. I student all day, but I don't know. This is the one plan. I have the my school in LA and my students. I don't know. I have the 10 more fights in UFC.
Are you gonna fulfill that? Are you gonna fight 10 more fights?
Yeah, I'm very good. I'm very excited.
You think you can do it? Well, because that's another 5 years at least. You can do another 5 years.
Yeah, maybe 4 years.
You can handle that. Maybe you can go back to Brazil and get your own children's show and become the new Xuxa.
I have the I have the Marlene Matos. It's the same partner, the Xuxa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, so you're in business.
Yeah.
You're in good shape. That's what I want to see happen. Okay, I read a story recently that it said they're only going to pick, it looks like, one veteran for the national team next year. They're talking about Kaká or Ronaldinho or who's the other one who's not on the team anymore? If you had to pick one of the older guys to be on the national team next year, a seleção, who would you want to see?
Kaká and Ronaldinho Gaúcho and is the Adriano.
Adriano.
Yeah.
So no Brasil ainda vocês usam Ronaldinho de Gaúcho?
Yeah.
Porque here nobody knows that. I always have to explain to Americans that Ronaldo was Ronaldinho. And Ronaldinho is Ronaldinho de Gaúcho. Because no one knew.
Yes.
Because they called him Ronaldo, and then they call him Ronaldinho, so they don't understand. Are Bebeto and Romario and Mario and those guys still famous? Do you still see them around?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Do you know them personally?
Yes. Romario and Bebeto is the great guys in Brazil. Is the people respect these guys in Brazil.
Do you know? What about Gustavo Kuerten? Is he still famous in Brazil?
Yeah, he's good, famous.
And you know him too?
Yes.
You know everyone. You know everyone in Brazil. Do people expect you to be? Has anyone reached out to you and expected you to make statements about the political situation in Brazil recently?
Yeah, in Brazil have the the great chance now for change the political style, because in Brazil have the people is the people in Brazil is the great people, is the people working hard, but I need to change the story, the political story in Brazil. This is the great time in Brazil now.
Yeah, because there's a lot of pressure right now, of course, with all the protests and people wanting wealth to be distributed to everyone, because so much money is going to be coming into Brazil with World Cup and the Olympics. And, you know, it's such a beautiful country, but at the same time, the poor in Brazil are so poor. And, you know, that's something that we see changing around the world. So I just was curious about whether people expect you to speak on those things. Is there anything else that you want to tell your fans in the United States and around the world?
So I need to say thank you for my fans. Thank you for the fans of the UFC. I go back in December, and the great fight is coming.
Muitos brasileiros in Las Vegas.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, I might have to go. I think I want to go this time. I might have to go. Obrigado.
I need to say thank you.
No.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course,
Pleasure.
of course. The great, great, great Anderson Silva, ladies and gentlemen.